when we say that Nigeria's president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, is sponsoring, facilitating, and utilizing Boko Haram for his sinister purposes, some people think that we are being unfair to him. But how realistic and how rational are they being? I think the evidence is overwhelming that Nigeria's president, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, continuously for the past 5 years of his tenure uses Boko Haram for his political purposes. And this is apart from, the former Nigerian National Security Advisor, Andrew Azazi, who was in the office to know who and what was behind Boko Haram, and said at the time that Nigeria's president's political party, the ruling People's Democratic Party, was behind Boko Haram.
The extent of violence did not increase in Nigeria until when there was a declaration by the current president that was going to contest. PDP got it wrong from the beginning. From the outset by saying Mr. A can rule, Mr. A cannot rule, Mr. B can rule, Mr. B cannot rule, according to PDP conventions, rules or regulations, are not according to the constitution. That created the climate. Thank you. I believe that created the climate for what's happening to manifest itself this way. Because I believe that there's some element of politicization. So is it possible that somebody was thinking that only Mr. A could win, and if he did not win, there will be problems in this society? Let's examine all those issues to see whether the level of violence in the Northeast just escalated because Boko Haram suddenly became better trained, better equipped, and better funded. And in any case, how did they get it all done?
And shortly after that same year, he was fired from his job, and then he was killed in a suspicious helicopter attack at the end of the year. So the evidence has been overwhelming, pointing towards Nigeria's president and the ruling political party, the People's Democratic Party, using Boko Haram for political purposes, which sounds very sick. But when you look at the history of the sect and you take a look at statements from Nigeria's president and the way he refers to the area where Boko Haram's attacks have been limited to, which is the north of Nigeria, Boko Haram has, in the last 5 years, has never even shot a single bullet in Nigeria South, not even one gunshot in the south. The destruction has been absolutely limited to the northern part of the country, which spans about 80% of the land of the country. Starts from Benue and then Kwara and the east and west and up to the north. So it's about 80%. All of Boko Haram's attacks have been limited to that northern region, which the president of Nigeria refers to casually. He says, he said in Namibia sometime last year that, the reason why we used to handle Boko Haram with kid gloves, we didn't take it serious. We only started taking it serious because, the attacks on that part of the country, could come to our part of the country. So that's why now, people are complaining, and that's why we are beginning to, sit up in the way we handle it. His wife also said something similar in Calabar while she was campaigning just this week, where she said, the people in that area, they abandon their kids. We don't do that. So you have a president and, a presidency that, that is not Nigerian, that distances itself and is alienated from the sufferings of the people because, these are people who, look at the northern part of the country, which is 80% of the land, as, being foreign, and they are hostile to that area. Basically, it's almost like we have a war situation where you have this crazy lunatic first family that's like the radical, warriors who hate a certain people in charge of the nation, and they hate these people. They hate the entire north of the country, and it goes without saying. Now, the reason for this particular presentation is because the evidence has come out again. And if you take a look, Reuters has a report from the Chadian authorities, army commanders, that Nigeria's president, Goodluck Jonathan, is actually stalling. This is unbelievable. It sounds unbelievable because the people have been entrapped. Like Boko Haram has captured territories in Nigeria and has been ruling the people harshly, killing people as at will, as they like within these occupied territories for months and years under the Jonathan administration. The situation is already beyond is irreparably, is irreparable. The damage done is beyond any kind of compensation or amendment. It's really, really terrible what has happened to the people in these regions in the northeast, especially, that have been ruled by Boko Haram maniacs. A lot of these people are Chadians who hold courts in those areas. And they've been ruling these people for way too long. So Nigeria's government signed a pact with the president of Chad. Now, there's a whole lot of controversy there, but we're not even going into that. But they signed a pact and are paying the Chadians money, which the Chadians are very happy to get, to come and help Nigeria recapture the land and recapture these occupied territories. The president is in a hurry to do this at last. He never did this. He's doing this in extra time. They had to postpone the presidential elections because he saw he was going to lose hands down. So he postponed the elections and said, look, give me 6 weeks. And in 6 weeks, I'm going to clean up the north. I'm going to, at last, I'm going to deal with this situation that I've folded my hands and, worn kid gloves, for the last 6 years. So like, give me 6 weeks. I'm going to wrap this up. And he hires the Chadians to come and do the job. And then now, seeing that, everybody realizes that this thing is easy to do because, we've been having reports, we've been promoting the Civilian Joint Task Force. Civilians armed with sticks and stones have been defeating Boko Haram every day. Recently, Mubi in Adamawa State was overtaken by Boko Haram. And a bunch of civilians went there and liberated the place. The government was so pissed because Boko Haram terrorists are cowards. They are straight up cowards. We've always known this. So the government, by not defeating them, was because the government didn't want to defeat them. The government felt they could use Boko Haram as a political weapon and blame the opposition for it to get people to hate the opposition. But by the time things got exposed and people found out that the opposition had nothing to do with this terror situation, the government now started, the government had to start confessing that this is foreign orchestrated, this is not anything to do with the opposition. All of a sudden, Boko Haram cannot be used as a political tool anymore. So the government realized we have to defeat it. Now, even though the government now pays these people, the Chadians, to come and help clean it out, according to this report they are looking at in Reuters, the government now stopped them. Unbelievable. Stop the Chadians. Jonathan stopped the Chadians from going ahead to liberate our people. People who have long needed, urgently and critically, to be liberated. Jonathan stopped the Chadians for the sole purpose, according to the report, that it will not look good on him for his personal political ambition. Nigeria is way bigger than Jonathan. This terror that is destroying West Africa is way bigger than Jonathan. But for Jonathan to be so callous, to stall the Chadians, who have been compensated and who have been doing the job, because he wants Nigerian military to do it just so it looks good on his resume. This man, this is enough evidence that this man uses Boko Haram and all other kinds of terror for political purpose. This is beyond doubt solid evidence of how far Nigeria's President Goodluck Jonathan goes to utilize terror against his perceived enemies and for his political ambition. And a leash has to be put on the president of Nigeria.